Diamond Approach teaching is about finding out who and what we are, what is the universe and its nature, and what is the relation of the individual human being to the totality of reality.
And so we begin the spiritual journey often asking, who am I, what am I? And over time, we begin to have these experiences more and more fully of these qualities until they begin to lead us and like tributaries back to the ocean. They're like rivers that take us back to the ocean. What began to evolve for us as these rivers of being took us further and further on the journey is a map began to develop. And that map of the Diamond Approach has basically 4 spheres of experience. And the first sphere, what we call the 4 turnings. The first turning is what I began talking about, of wanting to know who and what I am, and the individual consciousness. And it's opening our personal experience up and our individual experience up, divesting ourselves of history and moving through the restrictions of the way our mind thinks, the way our heart feels, the way we sense ourselves as physical beings. And as that opens up and we get more in touch with that boundlessness of which we are a part.
I had a moment in the utter chaos of my life with trying to get my child somewhere, my wife upset with me, raining, traffic, and suddenly just sitting in that and really recognizing who and what I am.
In that moment, I was terrified, but I had this courage, and I actually went into that question. And what happened was I was met with the knowledge that I am a point of light. And it was so profound. It was that I exist. What I am is this point of light. And to say it wasn't an idea, it was an experience. At some point I picked up Hamid's book, Essence. Somebody had given that to me. And as I was reading it, I realized, wow, somebody knows what this is.
That I am the ocean, and I am feeling, knowing, seeing, experiencing myself through the individual consciousness. So we can know ourselves as that vastness. So the second turning culminates in the transcendent, completely commingling with the immanent.
All of a sudden, a lot of creativity started to happen, new thoughts, new wanting to do different things within the teaching, and then feeling the connection of also the ground not just being still and quiet and full of love, but also dynamic and changing. That if you think about it, I mean, it doesn't take any deep realization to realize nothing is ever the same for 2 seconds. Every single thing in the whole world changes in every moment.
It's like the depth of the ocean spilling onto the shore, and then the recognition that that shore and the ocean have always been together, have always danced as one. So the surface and the depth are the same, and home is everywhere.
I learned to speak from my heart in terms of my love of the planet, and so I moved from doing work in pure engineering to doing energy policy and to speaking from my heart in those circles. So what makes me come back to this work is really the fact that I can stay humble. I can remind myself that I'm still here. I have more to learn. I have more to live. And I also found a community. I found a community of people that really care about the truth and that want to live the truth just like I do.
Which takes us to the third turning of the Diamond Approach, which is that when we recognize the depth of our nature and we understand the pure non-existence of existence, that becomes a portal to a turning that really threw us for quite a while. It just was a sideways exit out of a whole way of thinking about anything. So it was more than a paradigm shift.
One time, I was swimming in the ocean. I was snorkeling. And I noticed all these experiences happen within life, sort of. And snorkeling, you'll be looking down at the fish, and I could see all these beautiful tropical fish and the corals, about 10 feet, 10, 50 feet down. But at this point, as I was enjoying this floating and seeing the fish, I realized and I felt the fish was swimming in me. That all the fish, all that was in my heart. And although it was, I could tell it's about 15 feet away, it was no distance, it was already inside me, without me getting bigger to include it. Me on the surface was including the fish. Interesting kind of realization, which is different from the non-dual one that I usually experience.
It was a shift into an entirely different universe with different laws, different notions of what reality is, where time and space got wobbly and fell apart, and where distance meant nothing and there was no time.
The experience I had was that, I've had this a couple of times, there's some sort of an opening, and in this opening, the universe in some sense, or the totality of everything, seems to congeal in some way, seems to become unified in some almost palpable way, where it almost feels like the entirety of everything is this coherent, palpable unity that is me, and I'm the face of it.
A sense of different kinds of unity. And this is a portal that then opens up to the fourth turning, which is many kinds of unity are possible.